you see in the Bible and scripture, so much beauty comes out of the struggle, doesn't it? With Lamentations, with the Psalms. And I think we need to keep doing that in our day to day as well. We need to be kind of wrestling with the challenges of life. We need to be lamenting where we need to lament, but we also need to be speaking seeds of hope as well. And I think, that's my heart, is to kind of, is to lament in the struggle, but also point, to the signposts of hope in Jesus. So, I think poetry is a huge way of doing that. And my heart is to see it, just come to life, not just stay on the page, but come to life when it's spoken aloud. Because when it's spoken, it just takes on a whole new dimension,
Sure. Affinity Extra, be extra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Extra.
Yeah, people, this is your boy here, Roger Moore here on Affinity Extra, celebrating gospel music of black origin. I'm here on the Edge Show doing an interview with Dai Woolridge. Now, before we get into this is again another one about poetry. Now, as everyone knows, that poetry is not my flow. I don't think rap, but I'm into rap and I love the beats and the vibes and whatsoever and what's going on there. So yeah, but Dai Woolridge, all from the rugby loving nation Wales, you know what I'm saying? He looks like he's been eating the rugby diet or not. Definitely not.
I thought we were friends. Hang on. This went south quickly.
He hasn't had that beef he hasn't had that lamb casserole. He hasn't had that casserole. He's missed out on that, mashed potato. I don't know, something's missing anyway. So, but listen,
mate, that's only because you can see me from chest up. If you saw my belly, you'd say something different, mate. Only what you'd be saying. He should be playing in the pack, mate, with the scrum. That's what you'd be saying.
Listen, mate, myself, I was a talented outside centre, so I love my
nice.
I love my rugby. But obviously, we're back in my day. I'm an old man, and it was an amateur sport back in my day. So why am I gonna get hurt? Not get paid? Did not make sense. So I just enjoy playing amateur football, and I loved it. You know what I'm saying? But we're here with Dai Woolridge. We're gonna touch base about PIA. We're gonna touch base about. Also, I like to have longitude in my conversations and for people to come back to this and have a look at how does poetry fit into into the gospel, into evolving Christianity, in terms of taking it to the next stage, challenging the next generation in communicating to them. Because poetry is as I said, the poet it's like a niche within a niche. Rap was a niche, but it is a form that has kind of, I don't know if the word is grown or it's created a very loud voice within itself through social media, through YouTube and stations, in terms of the impact that it does make. But I do believe that preachers are poets anyway when they're ready, when they're spoken with. They put some bars together, they drop it in, they make you feel convicted with some rhymes and whatever. That's all. Your next minute on your altar. So that to me is a poet, but that's not belittling the skills of our poets who are on their stage doing their thing anyway. Still, and not getting that wage from the church anyway. So but listen, guys, I'm gonna hit off with Dai Woolridge, and we're gonna just kick off with, why poetry, bro? How did you get there?
Nice, mate. Appreciate the intro. I mean, poetry, I think it's just a great genre of communicating. I think you kind of picked up on it already, kind of preachers can be poets, and it's got a connection with rap for sure. I mean, obviously, kind of spoken word is different. It's not as on the beat. But there's crossovers, with these genres and with these art disciplines. I think for me, poetry can kind of, just cut to the core of an issue, just really well in a really profound way, using words, crafting words to communicate a message, and to do it, I think you can do it with challenge, you can do it with conviction, but you can also kind of get the gospel through the back door through spoken word and poetry as well. I think the way that you craft words to inspire people, it's just an art form that we've been using, since the early church back in the day. I mean, David in the Old Testament weaved words to, for corporate worship, but he'd also do it in his prayer life. And, I kind of look at that and go, you might say it's a song, but for me, it's kind of it's performance poetry. It's spoken word. I think Jesus is a storyteller. He did a form of spoken word through his parables, and you kind of see Hebrew parallelism in the Bible as well. So I think, for me, it's just, I love words personally. It captures my imagination, and I try and make sense of my faith and understand God better through words. And so that's how I kind of communicate with others as well. So for sure, crazy. I'm big time up for the performance poetry art form.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. So going down to, when did you're into words now? Obviously, I'm the opposite. I was into maths, so obviously I'm that kid that while you was in English class, the English lit going, oh, these are amazing books. I was going, yo, these amazing maths and stats and I'm into physics and all business anyway. Still, so I'm an engineer by trade. So I'm a numbers man and whatsoever. How did? What really pushed you to poetry? Was it when I was in primary school? They had these 4-line poems, and I can't remember what they're called. They're specific. These little poems,
like a limerick, that kind of thing.
Whatever limerick is. But anyway, that small poetry, that small poem thing. And obviously, he didn't want my boat. I was like, oh, this is great. Tried a couple poems, it just flopped straight away. Now, when did you notice you had a gift for putting words together? You said you love words. When did that? Can you identify, like, was it primary school, senior school, or was it college, uni? When did it trigger for you?
Man, to be honest with you, I mean, you kind of mentioned the English lit in school. That wasn't me. Like I got a very average C in English in school as a GCSE. But like I kind of got into poetry through storytelling. So I loved kind of performing on a stage, and I kind of do sketches and stuff like that in church. So I was kind of big in in kind of drama, acting, and off the back of that, I kind of had a heart for storytelling. And I think basically I witnessed this guy called Rob Lacey, who was a storyteller, and he kind of used colloquial prose, so like almost street language in a way to convey biblical messages, and he'd rewrite Bible stories in a kind of 21st century kind of urban colloquialism. And I kind of heard that and was like, wow, that's great. It kind of made the Bible come alive for me in a new way. And I think that kind of gave me a desire to want to not just be kind of acting on a stage, but to be crafting words to tell a story. And I think, so my background is I got a degree in drama. Yeah, man. But like, I think the kind of the kind of poetry came through the storytelling for me, and wanting to kind of just make not kind of lofty prose, but just kind of colloquial, kind of urban, informal, conversational tone, with some really cool kind of rhythm and rhyme in there as well. I wanted to make it kind of down to earth. So that's been my passion. But like, starting off in school, I wasn't really all it. It was kind of, the first poem I wrote is called Little Boy Had a Toy, because he wanted something to do, but his mother did not know it was blue, So obviously I was a genius. You know what I mean? But like, I look at that now and I'm like, that's mad. But it's kind of, I think God has just grown a heart desire in me to want to, communicate the gospel in a way that makes sense to our culture. And for me, spoken words, conversational poetry, rhythm, rhyme, spoken word, that stuff is a way that we can connect.
Oh, 100%. So, in terms of, so what I want to do is actually look at the future poets and let him look at your life and go, okay, how can I, really be, is there a pathway for me? Yourself, was you at the same time, rekindling your skill, understanding your skills in English, in the English language?
Yeah.
How was it did you grow up in church yourself? What type of church did you grow up in?
So I think for me, poetry is I've got a passion for spoken word, but it's the vehicle, you know. I think ultimately it's all about Jesus. And I think that's been my desire with poetry is I want to communicate my faith in a way that makes sense and inspires others to want to look into it for themselves. So it came through church, you know.
That heart and that passion. So, you know, in terms of, because I know, been to Wales myself, you know, there's a difference between if you grew up in Swansea or Cardiff, or if you grew up in a smaller area like Abergavenny or whatever. What type of area did you grow up in? Was it like a bigger city, or did you grow up in a smaller town?
Small town, small mining town. My father was a miner. Grew up in a small town. Yeah, big time. Yeah, I was born in the strike as well. 1984 baby I was. So, but yeah, man, you know, grew up in a small mining town, Carmarthenshire, in southwest Wales, end of the M4. Crazy. And I think it builds a kind of, you know, you kind of get an intrinsic sense of, you know, Wales is part of what Welsh culture is. It's community.
But do you find that activism, that spirit? No, you're touching about the coal miners now, guys. Sorry, I'm a bit of a history geek. But obviously, there's not many posters of Maggie Thatcher in the South Wales right now, as you can imagine. So the coal miners are not really cool with Conservatives. It's kind of like a Labour struggle for the next 100 years. Thanks. Now I've been in a coal mine, guys, and the coal mine is absolutely. I've been in myself. I went to Abergavenny, and my friend, you know, there's a coal mine not far from there, and I went down there thinking, for goodness sake, some scary stuff, man. I don't do closed areas, and I'm thinking, how on earth did people do this? But there's been a lot of hard times in South Wales and whatever, and there's almost a case of, okay, we're gonna stand up and speak and speak against what, you know, I don't want to call like an oppressive system, because it's not, you know, but the reality show is there's like to fight for your voice, to communicate, things are not gone right there. Did you find that kind of, I don't want to use rebellious spirit, that whole, how can I say it, fight for your right spirit, you know what I mean, kind of coming through poetry, through your passion towards communicating?
Yeah, I think part of, you know, being from a kind of a small mining town like Ammanford, you do kind of pick up on a sense of, I think that's part of what it means to be Welsh in some ways, is that sense of community, because it's people kind of, you know, struggling together and kind of coming out the other side, and you know, being stronger together than apart. And and I think in terms of poetry in Wales, it's part of the culture for sure. You know, I think you know, so many hymn writers I've been Welsh, you know, kind of bread of heaven, guide me, O thou great Jehovah. That's a Welsh anthem, you know. And I think you see it in the church, and you also see it kind of seep from the church into community. But I think spoken word poetry is part of that as well. You know, you see your Dylan Thomases, your R.S. Thomas, all these people who have used words to communicate, you know, life, but also struggle and community. And it's kind of, for me, it's part of the Welsh DNA, poetry. And cool. And it does speak into those kind of, tough situations as well, because I think that's, you know, you see in the Bible and scripture, so much beauty comes out of the struggle, doesn't it? With Lamentations, with the Psalms. And I think we need to keep doing that in our day to day as well. We need to be kind of wrestling with the challenges of life. We need to be lamenting where we need to lament, but we also need to be speaking seeds of hope as well. And I think, you know, that's my heart, is to kind of, you know, is to lament in the struggle, but also point, you know, to the signposts of hope in Jesus. So, I think poetry is a huge way of doing that. And my heart is to see it, you know, just come to life, not just stay on the page, but come to life when it's spoken aloud. Because when it's spoken, it just takes on a whole new dimension, you know?
Oh no, that's actually crazy. Just on the left side point, yeah. Was he ever into? Obviously, poetry is quite related to rap. Rap to me is basically poetry on beats. Yeah. Did you ever like rap back in the day, or still do you like rap, or do you, or is it something where you're like, okay, that's cool, but I just take the beat away and I prefer without the beat. How was it for you?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm kind of, I'm incredibly schooled in rap, but I do really appreciate it as an art form. I think I love listening to different flows, and I loved listening to Eminem growing up. Stormzy, he's got some absolute tunes, and I think obviously people like Governor B, big fan of Joshua Luke Smith. So I think you can hear the kind of crossovers with spoken word and with rap. But I think for me, I think rap does. I do want it to kind of inform what I do. I want to learn from what the rap artists are doing. I'm not a rapper myself, but yeah, in terms of listening to the rhythm and flow, I love it, and I want that to kind of seep into my craft as well, and kind of almost almost like tools in a toolkit. How can I learn from the storytellers? How can I learn from the rap artists? How can I learn from the preachers, from the TED talkers? To communicate a message. So for me, it's kind of spoken word is probably where I sit most neatly.
Okay, that's great, and I think you raised a valid point, because one thing, again, growing up for me, poem was a poem, four lines. It's a short way of saying a story, and as I've seen it evolve now, people can say, "Roger, you're ignorant." You got to bear in mind, I'm not an English student. I didn't really care much about English, but what I've noticed,
I didn't either.
Okay, listen, guys, I have a future then, guys, in poetry. I can't wait. But what I can say is that ultimately for me, when it comes to poetry, one thing, when you had a particular, you try and put a circle around poetry, and you have a problem because another poet comes up and does something different. You got like a monologue type of thing where it's very dramatic, as yourself in drama, nice. which I'm going, hold on a second, this is poetry, but a bit more action. It's more monologue. I don't know if you class monologuing is as part of the poetry genre element, because I think there's so much part of poetry which I think we don't realize how much it touches us, because as far as I'm concerned, but we see poetry as basically you go to a coffee shop, you have a drink, and you have 20 people there to clap their friends reading out the poems, but it's a lot more diverse than that. It's a lot more bigger than that, and I feel like the PIA tour, what they're doing here in the UK is actually incredible, because you have over 1,000 people coming to see and I don't want to use the word poetry, or I don't know if there's a bigger word for it, spoken word. I don't know if there's so many elements to it, but bringing across this dramatic performance without a beat, I'm real looking forward to it, and just seeing people gather together and just be wowed by absolutely crazy ways of putting together lyrics, so for me it's a really kind of like going like this, as you said, the form of this form. Is this the time where this form of music really sets its bed? But what future does it have in the UK? Because I know you are doing stuff yourself outside of this event. How do we push this genre as a UK art form within Christendom? I know it has I know it has its circuit outside Christendom, and I know a lot of poets go out there to evolve, but what can we do to make this thing evolve in Christendom? Because you can't really buy EPs. There's no real EPs out there and so on. So how do we plug into you guys and support you guys out there?
No, that's a great question, man. And I think I think firstly, I think it's exciting. I think you picked up on it earlier that spoken word in the UK seems to be getting a louder voice, and you see it kind of becoming more mainstream. People like K Tempest doing this stuff. And it's like, you kind of, it's practically kind of on TV in every ad break as well, in some form or another, isn't it? Spoken word. And I think Yeah, I mean, I'm excited by the London scene. I think in London, spoken word it's ahead of Wales. But like, I'm kind of excited to see the different communities, the different pockets of the UK kind of take hold of it and, push it forward in their own way. And I think I'm excited by the London scene, but I'm excited to see what can birth out of Wales as well because of our kind of poetic heritage. And I think, and other pockets of the UK as well, for sure. But I think it's got to come from people kind of giving it exposure. I think giving people an opportunity in local churches to do a piece maybe as a set in worship, or maybe kind of give someone who is a performance poet a Bible passage to read out and get them to read it out with their flow and with their kind of cadence and intonation. Or maybe kind of do a piece that connects with the theme of a preach. So I think there's a local church context where I think the church can kind of support support it, kind of almost see it as, okay, we've kind of, we're doing the worship thing now, and getting a full kind of band together for worship's a no-brainer today. But is the ways that people can integrate spoken word into their local context. And then I think the other aspect of it is to just try and showcase spoken word as best we can. So I think I've been doing spoken word for 10 years now. I've been doing videos, especially related to kind of Christmas and Easter. And you can check out my stuff on Spoken Truth.
Okay, we'll check that out. Spoken Truth. Okay, cool.
But yeah, I think, people kind of showcasing spoken word, as in just kind of doing it justice. I think kind of doing it well, I think will inspire the next generation to be like, okay, I want to kind of do what they do, but then go again and go further. So I think it's both at the top and the bottom is key. Doing it, opportunities for people to do it in a local context. And, the poets who are out there currently to feature it and showcase it well. And that's why PIA is so good for us, because it's showcasing top end spoken word, and that's what we want.
Yeah, because, it is 100%, it's important for one thing that, as a dare I say, a veteran and a creative side of the scene in the gospel scene, one thing I think that sometimes we don't do enough is basically be around the best. And I think what people have to realize is that when you're around the top guys in the game, you raise your game.
You do. Yeah, for sure.
I'm a footballer. I still play football to this day. I don't mind if I play with better footballers. My game raises to another level when I'm around better footballers. And I think that this PIA coming to town raises the level of UK poetry, because then when we sit down there and go, hold on a second, I've got to change how I bring across my piece, my that's an idea there. I've seen where rappers, when I used to do a lot of I do a tour called GR Live back, I did it a lot quite back in the day. I don't do so much now, i.e. COVID, but one thing I remember, an artist said to me, he watched the American artist, and he said to me, Roger, I didn't think I could do that to improve my performance.
Big time.
You know what I'm saying? And he teethed one of his techniques, and not even teeth, just experience, just being around experienced rappers that have been around a decade longer than themselves in genre, in arenas that are more competitive, because Americans, it's a big market, it's a big creative world. Somebody, my friend said, when you go to places like New York, there's creative people busking that will destroy anybody, on the top world. So to be great, you have to have that fight, and to bring that element of high level creativity from the Americas over here, it just raises the bar. It's not like we haven't got the talent, but sometimes I feel that we're just happy in mediocrity. You know what I mean? And don't actually push our level, because I feel like if we do push our talent within the kingdom, we get to be even more of a better of appeal to people outside. You know what I mean? So they can go, what's he saying? Because the creativity level is on par with anybody out there.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. I think, I think that's how you get the best gospel communicators, is people who are willing to to learn and to refine their craft. And 2019, the PIA guys came over. It's the first time I saw them live, and I think I was really challenged by it, in terms of my own craft, because like I do stuff live, and I do stuff as kind of film, but then the way they kind of utilize media live was it was a bit of a kick up the backside for me to be like, okay, that's the level,
man,
and I think you don't realize.
Come on.
Maybe the mediocrity until you see something at another level, and you kind of go, okay, great. And it gives you a benchmark. It gives you something to aim at. And I think, with those guys, they've been doing kind of international tours for years.
Yeah.
Spoken word in the States, is it's much more further along than in the UK. So we are, so it is kind of recognizing where we are a little bit. But I think, it's been great for me personally, because it's given me that sense of, okay, cool, with a budget, with good thinking, prep time, that's what's possible. And I think it doesn't mean that everyone in the UK is going to be at the, Ezekiel, Jackie Hill Perry standard overnight. But I think it does push you to raise your game. And I think, if we're going to be communicating the gospel, that can only be a good thing.
100%. And I think that sometimes everybody hides behind calling and doesn't push themselves in terms of their skill level, because they said, oh, I'm called to do this, so I can do whatever I need to do and God will do the rest. No. We're here to 100% evolve this and whatsoever. So that's absolutely fantastic. So in terms of so obviously you have your own YouTube channel, bringing across poetry. You go now. How did you bump into Poetess Jess? You mentioned she's going to be doing that, so I'm thinking, hold on a second. She's over in London. You're in the southern states. You're in the southern states of South Wales. You know what I mean? Minding your own business, just chilling out there. Going to you may bump into a festival halfway to London. You may pop into London just for the Madam Tussauds. Sorry, I'm just sound like I'm from Birmingham, mate. We don't go to London. We don't go to London for any reason but to see Madam Tussauds. But so how did you guys bump into each other? You know what I'm saying? To be able to perform like this, what you do now.
Yeah. I think the spoken word community is quite a kind of it's a smaller community than the music scene, isn't it? I think if you add the Christian tag to that, it's even smaller again. So I think when I kind of started spoken word films 10 years ago, there weren't many of us in the UK doing it. But I think I'm encouraged now to see how much that's grown. And so I've just been kind of connecting with other faith-based poets. There's a monthly spoken word event in London called Transcendence, headed up by Danielle and Jermaine Wong. So I connected with a few poets through them. But then kind of part of my role with Bible Society is coordinating the Big Church Day Out spoken word stage. And so with that, it's kind of, it's been a great kind of, it's been a great excuse for me to be like, I want to connect with poets.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But it's been great to be like, okay, well, who else is out there doing good stuff? And that's kind of, how I came across Jess, was Poetess Jess was through that. So I think for me, kind of, I'm a poet, in my own right, but also to have the opportunity to kind of, connect with Dennis and with PIA and Big Church Day Out. It's been great in terms of, trying to be more deliberate with building, relationship with other guys. So
No, it's crazy. And you mentioned the Bible Society. That sounds like people are going to go, oh, typical, a wordsmith. And what on earth is he doing? He's working for the Bible Society. Who else would take this guy on, in the Christian world? But just explain you work with Bible Society. I presume it's not going to be created, the new version of King James version of the Bible. I think it will probably do something else than that anyway. But what? Yeah, no,
I'm rewriting Revelation. We're gonna stick it at the end of the NIV. me.
Mate, just turn it to Independence
That's a joke.
Day.
Yeah.
Just do Independence Day and just chuck it in and call it Revelations, bro.
chuck it in. Yeah, Dai's version in brackets underneath. No, like I'm creative specialist for Bible Society, so you know, I'm kind of as well as, you know, kind of do my own thing and being a poet. I'm able to kind of realize that in the role with Bible Society as well. So creating, you know, creative Bible engagement content, and using, I guess, some of my skill set with spoken word, you know, if that's written, if that's live, if that's film. So you know, we work with them, doing stuff, you know, based around the Bible, really. So that's been cool. So got a piece that we're performing at PIA with Poetess Jess, and a guy called Ben Hayden. And I've basically, I kind of thought I want to inspire people to pick up the Bible. That's ultimately what I want to do. I want to inspire myself. I want to keep re-inspiring myself to pick it up, you know, because I know I can pick it up so much more than I do as well. But in terms of this story, you know, it's God's redemption story that we get to be part of, and it's, you know, it's changed my life. It's the bedrock of my life, is my faith. And I was like, okay, how can I inspire people? So I've written the Bible in 4 minutes as a spoken word piece. So I kind of track through the whole Bible story.
Hold a second, guys. Wow. If I can do the Bible in 4 minutes, trust me, guys, 4 minutes, you know, guys, you can listen to this poem and then go to your pastor. I read the Bible. No, Joe. No. I know the full Bible.
The Bible's only 4 minutes long. That's not it. Yeah,
Crazy.
but trying to kind of inspire people with the story of God, and yes, I'm excited, you know, and I think the opportunity to do that at PIA and a big church day out. And I've written a book around it as well, like a creative devotional that tracks through the story. Just to help people engage with, you know, with the original. That's the heart behind it, you know.
That's crazy. You know, that's absolutely fantastic, bro. Because I think that, you know, 100%, you know, I'm going to ask you to do a little element of it, not to bring it all, because you either have to go to PIA Tour or check out all the videos afterwards, and also to support all these ministries out there. So definitely watch your space. Go to Step Forward, go to PIA. But also, guys, one thing I want to encourage, because the key thing for me as well, I don't want to just create content to promote the gigs. I'm a promoter of gigs. I want to promote the art form. Yeah, forget the gig.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, the gig is great, man, because more people come to the gig. Come to the gig. But what people have to realize there, is when you respect and appreciate the art form and how it fits within the gospel, you'll be supported. This is why we're still struggling to promote rap, and we're still confused over what shall we support gospel drill, because we don't understand the concept of whatever. Every generation have a different expression, a different communication tool, and when we appreciate that, I might not appreciate that style, but you know what, I'm going to support it. Cool. I will be at PIA, God's willing. I know my wife loves poetry. I may come down with a friend as well who loves poetry. I may be going, can you translate, please? You know what I'm saying? But I will be there. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm going there, guys, as a mathematician. I ain't, you know, but I want to support these guys. God's will be backstage doing some interviews so you guys can see afterwards and all his business and whatever. But listen, we've got to support what these guys are doing anyway. So we're gonna go into an element of the because I'm gonna say to you, bro, don't drop it all, man, because you know how people, man, they'll listen to it and think, I don't need to go to the gig. You know what I'm saying? Give people a taste of what we're gonna be going. We're gonna be tasting, and then also, guys, I'm gonna put links as well, bro. Send me links, and I'm gonna put your ministry links into the into the description of the YouTube video. Also, bro, the Bible Society as well, bro. Now, sorry to go back into your work. You talk about creativity. You know what I'm saying? But just to you know, the Bible Society. That sounds like, you know, we hear about you know, I watch things like Da Vinci Code and stuff like that. So now when you say Bible Society, you think straight away this elite group of clergy that are manipulating the Bible towards. Absolutely crazy. What is the actual role of the Bible Society in the UK?
No, it's a good question, man. The best way I can sum it up in a nutshell is to say that in 1804, a 15-year-old girl walked a marathon barefoot because she didn't have a Bible and she wanted one.
Wow.
And so her name was Mary Jones, and she came to faith through a Welsh revival, and she was desperate to have her own copy of the living word in her hands, and there were many like her, but that kind of sparked something in a preacher called Thomas Charles from Wales, and he connected with people like William Wilberforce in London called the Clapham Sect, and he was like, we need how many Mary Joneses are out there all over the world who are desperate for the word, don't know Jesus because they've not read the Bible for themselves, or do know him but just desperately want to find out more. So kind of it birthed the movement in 1804, and there's probably about over 140 Bible societies all over the world, working in working in kind of over 200 countries and territories, and the heart has been Bible distribution. It's been Bible Society been at the forefront of translation with other kind of translation organizations like Wycliffe.
Wycliffe, yeah.
Yeah, and there's been a heart to get it out there, and I think the UK, the issue is not getting hold of it, is are people picking up and reading it? So I think the heart in the UK is to kind of go, how can we inspire Bible confidence in the church? And that's part of what I'm doing, kind of through creative Bible engagement.
That's it, yeah.
But then it's also kind of going to culture and saying, maybe there's some obstacles that you've got with picking up the book, and it's finding different ways to engage people with the word, and letting them, as Charles Spurgeon said, you don't need to defend the Bible. It's like a lion, just let it out of its cage and it'll defend itself. We want to kind of get it out there and get people to connect with it. So that's the kind of heart. So it's a big mission, but it's great to be part of. And I think my heart with the kind of the spoken word element is it's making it real to real people.
100%.
I think, and I think spoken word is one way we can do that. It's not about lofty poetry that is so rich and profound you haven't got a clue what people are saying. It's kind of going, how can you say something in a way that can invoke a feeling and stir the soul and inspire people to want to pick it up? So that's the kind of heart.
Oh no, that's actually fantastic. And for myself, when it comes to Bible Society, that's fantastic. But and that may be a conversation that we need to have often on record, because I feel that as a community we've had some knockbacks because of different translations and hearsays and different stuff like that. So it'd be great to have a conversation in terms of with representatives from the Bible Society and how we are combating, because as the biggest battle out there is what version of the Bible do you read from. You used to, even my pastor, there's the people that can't stand the NIV version. I grew up on King James version to people. I mean, that's the KJV. Then I saw this book called the Good News Version, and I loved the illustrations, and I loved
that's Bible Society. Bible Society is Good News. So that's one of the Bible translations we publish. So man.
And then people didn't like it, and I was like, but I couldn't understand it. It's the first time I read the Bible and understood it, and as a young person, so I understand people says, oh, they've dumbed it down, but what they don't realize is that it's helped me understand the Bible a lot quicker. I read the Good News Version of Proverbs, and I understood it. I just went through it, and I had the images, and I get it. What translation do you need to be about gluttony in public? You know what I mean? You don't need to, just say it straight, bro. Don't eat, don't overeat in public. People say, Roger, why are you saying that for? But listen, into this, I've learned the formative years of my Christianity was actually putting down the King James Version and picking up the Good News Version. But if I say that too loud, people go, oh, you need to, you're terrible. So that may be a whole nother subject we're going to be talking to Dai. We're going to get Dai, and we're going to break down the interlinear version. I'm going to get himself in trouble here. The interlinear version, we're going to go, why don't you use this? So we're going to go into the Bible Society things. That's the future. But it's very important that words are powerful things. Translating and the communication is a very powerful tool. Words are powerful. And one thing that people used to say, sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. But we all know words are way more powerful. And that lie came from my childhood. That weren't long ago. So and I think they still say in the playgrounds, and then we see the powerful of words. But on the last note, guys, we're gonna give it up to the poet, the poet himself. He's gonna end off this whole session. We're gonna end on this now. Roger, keep it cool. Let's go, bro. Listen, Dai, just hit us out with this poetry right at the end, man.
Come on, thanks, Rog. So yeah, guys, just a heads up. I'll be doing this at PIA May the 7th, so you can check out there. And this poem is also part of a book I've just released called 6 Beats, 1 Story. You can check it out at biblesociety.org.uk/6 Beats, 1 Story. I'm just going to do a little taster for you now. Okay. Right at the start, the original orator set out solar systems with stanzas, and from the dust he formed us as the ultimate reflection of his perfection. Until a cataclysmic mistake, with a snake spoiling the truth and speaking the fake news, knowledge misused and trust abused, sin goes viral. Yet a seed sown, pointing to a promise of a rescuer homegrown. They wait, time passes, Abe gets the call up, then Isaac to Jacob, God wrestler. The providence of God sees Joe go from prisoner to prime minister. 400 years pass, then a 10-plague standoff. Israel's shackles come free. Moses leads the way as God sent the parts the sea to Sinai. A 10-part moral compass, 12 eyes spies, 40 years in the wilderness. They wait.
Whoa. I was just supposed to go. I was just going for each. I was going, yeah, that's Genesis, Exodus. I was going, yo, I know my Bible. Let me see if he's going to go into.
You were tracking.
I was going, let's get to George's. Oh, yeah, stop right there, mate. So I was going to get you. Well, listen, guys. Dai, really do appreciate your time and effort. And hopefully people can look at this, whether it's for PIA, but for the spoken word genre itself. Really appreciate your support and what you're doing for creativity. And guys, do hit up Dai, from a perspective of expanding on creative himself, looking into the whole creative UK market and how to support it and bring it to a bigger stage. Really appreciate your platform for that, bro, and actually championing what you love doing. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
To the older folk, like me.
Hey, thanks, bro. It's been great.
Listen, all day. Thanks again, guys. Listen, guys, this is Roger over now. Check out the PIA Tour, and listen, man, let's support the ministry out there with spoken word.
Hey, this is your bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing, and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta, and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.